So at this time, it is my honor to introduce our first guest speaker. Will Ginsberg has been president and CEO of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven since 2000. And I consider him a friend and a great supporter of the Valley through that time. And I've got other remarks to make, but I don't know if we'd be here if it hadn't been for Will and his vision to improve the relations between the Valley and the Community Foundation. And I see Dave Rifkin, I see Mary Pepe, and I don't know how many others, Alan Timer there. And their work, along with Will, produced the Valley Community Foundation that we're celebrating tonight. Will's career is quite remarkable. He's devoted much of his work to issues at the local and national level in fields of economic development, community banking, and community philanthropy. He currently serves on the boards and committees of numerous prominent organizations throughout the Greater New Haven area and state, and has received numerous awards and accolades for his community work and activism. Also, before his career landed him at the Community Foundation 22 years ago, he served in the Clinton administration as Assistant Secretary for Economic Development in the U.S. Department of Commerce and as Chief of Staff for the late Secretary of Commerce, Ron Brown. I know it sounds like a cliche, but I really could go on and on about all of Will's accomplishments, but we'd be here all night. So with that, let me introduce our friend, Will Ginsberg, the President of and CEO of the Community Foundation.
Well, glad to be with you. Glad to have arrived almost on time. I had a remarkable, virtually unprecedented experience, which is I was at an event in downtown New Haven. It took me less time to get here than I thought it would. Now that never happens, so that's pretty remarkable. So good evening to you all, and it is a great pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you, Jack, for that introduction. And ladies and gentlemen of the Valley, good evening. It's such a treat to be with you in person, back in this room where we have celebrated the progress of VCF many times before. So even from a social distance and even with a mask on, just came off, I'm delighted to be among you all. For 18 years now, I can't believe it's been 18 years, the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven has stood with and worked with Valley community leaders, people like yourselves, some of the people that Jack just mentioned, who I'm waving to off in the corner, to build and to grow VCF. There is so much to be proud of in what you are building here and what we are building together as partners. At the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, we're your partners because, like you all, we believe in the Valley. We believe in the Valley's future. We know the Valley to be a proud, strong, deep-rooted, and unique community that is building its own future. And we believe that philanthropy, led by VCF, has a central and indeed vital role to play in building that future. For 18 years, the commitment and support of so many people and so many families in this Valley have substantiated that belief. We are so grateful to you all and to your fellow believers across the lower Naugatuck Valley for your generosity, for your confidence, and for your belief in this enterprise. So I want to applaud you. Thank you. It was, of course, the extraordinary generosity and farsightedness of brothers Frank and Ross Gates from Derby that launched this community down this path 3 generations ago. And you all are carrying their vision, this vision, forward for the generations that will follow us. That's what community philanthropy is all about. That's what VCF is all about. As I said, there is much to be proud of, and there are many people to thank. So I start with all the board members of the Valley Community Foundation and the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, those who are serving today, those who have served in the past, going back 2 decades and more, who have believed that by working together, we can build the institution that the Valley deserves. I give a special nod to those who have served as board members of both of our institutions. Terry Jones, is Terry here? No. Terry is not here today. Terry Jones is doing that now. And you all know Terry. He's doing it with great wisdom and great understanding and great commitment and a wonderful sense of humor and a wonderful sense of what it takes to build togetherness, and we're very grateful to him. And others have served. I gather from what Jack said, I'm looking, I can't see, there are poles in the way, but if Alan is here, Mary Pepe is here, again, people who...
Jimmy over there.
Where's Jimmy?
Jimmy.
There you are. Jimmy Ryan also served as board members of both institutions, and in many cases as chairs of both institutions. So thank you, and thank you to Jack Walsh, VCF chair. Yet another role, yet another notch in the belt of Jack's remarkable life of service to his community. Bravo, Jack Walsh. And thanks too to my board chair, Nick Norcott, who I don't think is here, a great leader and a great friend of the Valley. I see Greg Pepe, and I hasten to add Greg Pepe, born in Seymour, because he always adds that, and Joe Gordon from our board. Are there any other our board members here? No. So Joe and Greg, thank you for being here. And Jackie, well, I'm getting to the staff in a minute. Don't rush me, Joe. So, to the staff. Special thanks to the Community Foundation staff in New Haven who do so much in support of VCF. And Jackie, thank you for being here representing our colleagues. Or I don't know if any of our other colleagues are here. Thank you, Jackie. We support hundreds of organizations. Of course, that's what we do. But the scale of our financial support, as well as our integrated management with VCF, makes our relationship utterly unique. Our grant-making team, our finance and admin team, led by Wendy Gamba, who is our shared chief financial officer, our development team, our human resources team, our communications team, and our investments team all work in an integrated way with VCF staff. And of all of them, I do want to single out one person, which is always risky, and that is Angela Powers for special recognition. Angela is our Chief Operating Officer. She's our representative on the VCF board, and those of you who've been involved with VCF from the early years will remember that she was also VCF's first executive. She is our leader both in making this relationship work on a day-to-day basis and in keeping us the two institutions moving forward together down the same path. So a special thank you to Angela Powers for her work. And finally, of course, much thanks to our partner-in-chief, Sharon Closius, and her team here at VCF. They make this work on the ground for you, for this community, every day. Sharon, VCF leader, a member of our senior management team in New Haven, is the cog, the connection, the indispensable one. So thank you, Sharon, so much for all you do. So our partnership conceived and has grown VCF and made it into an indispensable Valley institution over these 18 years. Much indeed to be proud of, as I said. The last 2 years have shown us that we need to do even more. The social and economic and health impacts of COVID have created altogether new challenges for this community. In revealing the deep structural inequities in our most fundamental social and economic systems, COVID's lesson is that continued progress means doing things very differently. That's why beginning last year, we put in place our 3-year, $26 million Stepping Forward plan to address the impact of COVID and to advance racial equity. We are doing more at the Community Foundation in New Haven, and we are doing things very differently. And we're very pleased to be working with and supporting VCF to undertake its own Stepping Forward in the Valley under Sharon's leadership. Whether related to your work on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or the grant making we are doing together, about to do together to help create career pathways in growth sectors of our local economy, we are working together to achieve the goals of stepping forward in the Valley, the goals of addressing the impacts of COVID and of advancing racial equity. And at the Community Foundation in New Haven, we see these times demand of us not only the strongest possible COVID response that we can muster, but also that we view this time as a departure point, really for reimagining the future of our community. So the words that are set forth in bold on the cover of our 22 annual report state that this is a time of transformation. That's how we see it. We are asking ourselves how we change our thinking and how we change our work to build a community of greater opportunity and greater equity for the future. You can find our annual report on our website. If you're on our mailing list, you'll receive a copy shortly in the mail. Our annual report speaks to many of the ways we are answering that question in our work. I submit that the Valley needs to answer that question too. And VCF was founded on the core principle that Valley people and Valley institutions, Valley residents, and Valley leaders know this community best. And that remains a core principle of our partnership today. So we in New Haven look to VCF. We look to Sharon and her team. We look to the VCF board. We look to you all, the people who know this community and are most committed to it, to partner with us to answer these questions for the Valley's future. In light of all that has been revealed by COVID and its impacts, in light of all that is happening in our world and in our country and in our community, how do our two foundations in partnership use our resources and our connections to continue to strengthen the Valley community for the future? That's the question for our times. So I thank you for all you do and for all you will do as we walk down this partnership path together. Thanks very much.